You're the CEO of your business. You have a team. You are craving free time to focus on growing and scaling your business. But unfortunately, you're spending your time with your team. You are trying to fix things. You are following up. You are actually doing part of their work. And that can be really frustrating when you're trying to take your business to the next step. You can see the vision of where you want it to go. You know you can't do it on your own. You need that team, that solid team with you. But how do you build an efficient team that are held accountable, that you don't need to double check, triple check their work or follow up on things because you want to know that it's just been actioned without you having to get involved in the day-to-day? So hi, my name is Selina Johnson, your team operations strategist. I love to call myself the chief of team simplicity. I have 20 years of operational experience where I work with CEOs from around the world to help them to free up their time so that they can grow their business for more joy, more fulfillment, and more free time to do more of the things that you love to do. So I want to share my screen right now and show you one strategy that can help you to take your team currently who are on average to the next level to meeting expectations. And this is a game changer that I've done with clients, and now I want to share it with you. Okay, so here we have the levels of authority. So you can see right now we've got numbers steps 1 to 7. And I'm going to walk you through this, but often what happens is we're expecting our team to come into a business, a new business, at a level 6. In actual fact, they could be a 2, 3, or 4. So there's that clear disparity there of what your expectations are and what's actually been delivered. And what happens is that we want our team to be higher up, but in some cases, that's not possible because it's not their skill set. That role doesn't really require them to be at that level, or they don't have the necessary experience to get them to that next level. So at level 1, this is nothing's been actioned. So you've asked a task to be delivered, you've had a conversation about it, but nothing's been actioned means that you've had to do it. So it's been 100% input from you. Number 2 is do as I say. So if we give an example of a personal assistant role and within travel bookings, we may say, I want to travel to Singapore this weekend. Get me a flight that arrives on Saturday first thing in the morning. I want to go this specific airline. I want to sit in this specific seat with this carriage. I want you to book my airport transfer. Like, you're being very specific. These are the steps. This is what I need you to do. Which means, again, the majority of the input comes from you, because then once they've researched it, they're going to then come back to you with the information for you to decipher, for you to make a decision. So there's no accountability on their side with this. It's all held on you, which means you have no free time to do the stuff you need to do. 3 is look into this. I'm thinking of going to Singapore this weekend. Could you look at the options of flights? These are the Pacific flights that I want to go on. And can you just look at what I could be doing in the evening whilst I'm there? So it's more of, okay, can you look into this for me and just let me know your findings? So it's more of a loose brief. It's giving them more autonomy to think. But again, you've got to feed them the information to make sure it's matched with the criteria of what you want. 4 is give your opinion. So this again would be related to travel. I'm going to Singapore. Can you just research all the flights for me, look at who I should be meeting, and then give me your opinion based on all the 10, which one I should do. So rather than saying to them specifically, give me all the data, let me decide, you're letting them decide which one would be best for then you to say, yes, let's go with that choice. 5 is check in with me. Just do the travel for me. I want to go to Singapore. You've done it before. You look at the previous itineraries and just do it with me and just check in with me I can double check everything looks okay. So they've done all the legwork at the beginning, and it's just a case of you reviewing it to make sure that you're happy with what they are planning to book. 6 is take action and just let me know what you did. Okay, so this is the next level of a personal assistant would be, they've seen in your inbox that you need to go to this conference in Singapore. So it'd be like, I noticed that you've got a conference in Singapore on the weekend. I know that you always go to this for the last 6 years. So I've looked at the flights, I've looked at your hotel, I've even held your airport transfer. I've taken action, I've booked it. Here's the details, just for your information. That's quite, for a personal assistant, that's the level you would want them to be at to free up your time, but that's not going to happen overnight, because they need to understand your preferences, the criteria, they need to understand your business, what your frustrations are, what you like, what you don't like. So it's a very personalized service that comes through communication and through certain tools to get to that level. So a personal assistant coming in maybe at a 3 or 4, but through your communication, you can get them up to a 6 quite easily. Whereas someone who is just come out of university, or someone in a completely different industry, you wouldn't expect them to be at a level 6 straight in there, who's got no experience of managing diaries, no experience of booking travel, and you're willing to spend the time to train them. They're going to come in at a 1 or a 2, and you're going to have to spend a lot of time getting them up to a 6. But that's a whole different conversation for another video, about the difference between hiring a junior person versus a more experienced person. There's no wrong or right way. It just depends on the specifics of your business. So we'll touch on that in another video. 7 is take care of it for me. It's just been actioned. Have you had any situation where there's been issues or blockages in businesses, stumbling blocks, and it's just been handled because they've seen the issue come up? They don't want to disturb you because they know you're in a focus mode, you're very busy. They've just handled it. And that could be a level of an office manager, someone in a leadership role, a COO, a director would be someone who just takes care of it for you. So with that review, you can see the difference in the disparity between a level 1 to a 7. And this is like a real aha moment for you to realize that where are your team currently sitting? But also it's okay for some of your team members to be sitting at a 3 and some to be sitting at a 6. So where do your team sit and where are you expecting them to be? That's the first question I would love for you to then look at and take away that today. But then also to look at the different roles within the team. If you had a research assistant, I would expect them to be a 2 or a 3 because they're specifically doing things that you've asked them to do. Example would be, I'm a delegation expert. Can you find me statistics about the benefits of delegation, how it frees up CEO's time specifically, how it helps the team be engaged more, how it increases the revenue of the business by delegating effectively. Look at studies, look at research, look at statistics, and send me back 10 findings. I will then review that, and then we will then take it from there. So that is a very key way that you can understand that that task is a level 3. An office manager, I would expect to be a 6, 7 minimum. I then like to take it to the next level with this and then have this conversation with your team members. So screenshot this and share it with your team, or make your own version of it and start to have this conversation, because it's one thing for you to understand it, but it's another for your team members. And often they don't really understand. I've noticed that a lot. And we're trying to get you both onto the same page to bridge that gap. Have an honest, open conversation with them and say, I've just come across this chart. It's called the levels of authority. And I was looking at it to see how I can free up more of my time, because my focus is X, Y, and Z. But however, I'm doing a lot of other things, and I want to know where you feel you sit between a 1 and a 7. And they say, actually, looking at this, I'm probably a 4. I said, that's great you've come up with that, because I was thinking probably you're around a 4 too. What can we do? What tools, resources, what do you need from me to get you up to a level 6? That's how you start the conversation without it being difficult. And it's clear, it's concise about the expectations. The visual representation is really good to have that discussion with your team member. And then also just be clear with them about what your focus is, what you're trying to achieve in the business, where you should be spending your time. What's your top 3 things that you should be focusing on? So that it just gives them more of an understanding that when they come to ask you a question, actually, do they know the answer? Can they actually discover that answer for themselves because they've done it previously, or there's an SOP on it, or they can ask somebody else in the department who can help them further before coming to you. So it's allowing them to have more independence, not relying on you so much, and hold them accountable for when you actually assign something to them, they complete it from start to end without you always getting involved. without you picking up the pieces, so that you can really have that dedicated time without getting distracted constantly. Another thing to take into mind with this is that the percentages that I like to add into this. So I'll just show you my other screen, that as you go further up the steps, there's less involvement of you. We can see in the purple, I've added in those steps there for you from 1 to 7, but you can see the CEO's involvement of the task is here. So we've got at a 1, 100% input from you because nothing's been actioned, so you're having to do it. Level 2 is 85% input from you, 15% input from the team member. And then all the way up to a 7 is 0% input from you because it's been taken care of. You didn't even know what happened, but you know it's aligned with the business goals and values. So that's the aim of where you want to get to with some of your team, but not all of them. As I said previously, some roles is not necessary for them to be all the way up to the top. And then what you can do on another area, which I loved to do when I'm doing some coaching with team members, is actually to break this down into tasks within their role. So what you can do is take their job description and then start to look at the task that's been outlined on there. And if you haven't got a description, you need to get one ASAP for your team members. But what we're doing on here, and hopefully you can see my screen, is that we are outlining all the different tasks that this person fulfills. We are then looking at their current level status. So you can see on here, we've got the numbers on the side, and then what that actually means is level status. And then we went to the CEO and asked them, what is the minimum level you expect this person to be at? So this is an office manager. So the expectation is 6. And we have the difference of where there's been disparity. So anything in red means there needs to be an improvement in that task. And this is really a good key way to take it further for team members to really understand where they sit. So you can actually fill this in, give this to your team member, and let them actually fill in where they feel they fit currently, then have a conversation with them and then show them where you expect them to be, and then give a deadline, a time, turnaround time of how long you want them to move up. So you can have like a date reviewed, what their average level is right now, and the target to get to the next level. So in 2 months, you expect them to go from a 5 to a 6, as an example. So hopefully that showed you just one simple tool that you could be using in your business right now today to then help your team to step up, to be clear and transparent with them about the expectations so that you have more free time. They are then held more accountable. They are then more valued, and their skills are actually being fully utilized rather than you jumping in and doing the work. You're actually getting a higher return of investment of them actually fulfilling that role. They become more productive, and then your team will actually be able to grow faster with their involvement, and you then maximizing your efforts in growing and scaling the business. So if this presentation today resonated with you and you want to talk more about how to up-level your team, how to have more free time for you to grow and scale your business, then book a call with me so we can discuss those tips and tools together. And go to selinajohnson.com/call and let's talk about how we can take your business to the next level. Bye for now.